Welcome back to Procurement Doodle, where guidelines are made simple, one doodle at a time. We've completed Stage 2, eligibility, responsiveness, and deviations. Now it's time to move forward. In this video, we begin Stage 3, the detailed bid evaluation process. This is where we take the substantially responsive bids and compare them. Price adjustments, life cycle costs, currency conversion, and all the steps that lead us to the lowest evaluated bid. So grab your sketchbook. Let's make Stage 3 simple, one doodle at a time. We've learned how to collect data in Stage 1 and screen non-responsive bids in Stage 2. Today, we dive into Stage 3, the detailed bid evaluation. We'll walk through the 13 sequential steps that turn substantially responsive offers into a ranked list of evaluated costs. Let's go beyond the quoted price and find the true evaluated cost. Stage 3 is the detailed bid evaluation, a systematic process containing 13 sequential steps. The goal is not simply to find the lowest quoted price, but to determine the lowest evaluated cost. This ensures all adjustments for deviations, life cycle costs, and domestic preferences are fairly applied before ranking the substantially responsive bids. Step 1 ensures a level playing field from the start. We remove VAT from all bid prices because it would otherwise distort true cost comparison. Provisional sums and contingencies are also excluded, as they are not yet firm commitments. All other taxes and levies, however, remain included in the bid price. This gives the committee a clean, uniform basis for detailed evaluation. Step 2 corrects any arithmetic mistakes in the bid. The rules are firm. Words prevail over figures when they conflict. Between a unit rate and its line item total, the unit rate normally wins, unless there is an obvious decimal misplacement, in which case the line total stands. Once corrected, the adjusted amount becomes binding on the bidder. Step 3 applies only discounts announced at the bid opening. Conditional discounts are ignored entirely. A straight percentage off the total is applied uniformly to all items. A lump sum discount is proportionately distributed across the items. If cross discounts are offered, they are considered for evaluation purposes only. This ensures fair, transparent price comparison. Step 4 handles items missing from a bid. To make a fair comparison, the committee prices those omitted items using the average of what other bidders quoted or prevailing market rates. This adjustment is for evaluation only. It does not change the contract price. If awarded, the supplier must still provide everything within their quoted price. Step 5 addresses deviations in delivery. Acceptable delays are quantified in monetary terms and added to the evaluated price. However, no advantage is given for finishing earlier than required. If the calculated adjustment exceeds 10% of the bid price, that deviation is treated as major and the bid is rejected. Step 6 handles other acceptable commercial deviations like different advance percentages or payment schedules. The committee converts these into a monetary value using prevailing commercial interest rates. However, if a bidder offers higher capacity than specified, no extra advantage is given, unless the procurement document explicitly allows it. Step 7 covers inland transportation. Works contracts get no adjustment at all. For imported goods supplied on CIF or FOB terms, the cost from the port to the project site is added. For EXW or ex-factory terms, no inland transport is included. These adjustments use prevailing market rates and are applied for comparison only, strictly as described in the procurement documents. Step 8 applies life cycle costing where operating or maintenance costs are significant. The total considers the initial purchase price plus all future operating, maintenance, and disposal costs. These future cash flows are discounted to net present value using the Treasury bond rate, ensuring a fair comparison of total ownership cost, not just the upfront price. Step 9. Domestic preference. For goods, eligibility requires 30% or more local value addition in labor and raw materials. Under local funding, a 20% margin is added to non-eligible bids. Under foreign funding, it's less than 15%. For works, domestic firms need over 50% local ownership. The margin is for comparison only, never deducted from the award. We've just touched on domestic preference as step 9, but there's much more to cover. Eligibility rules, local value addition thresholds, and precise margin calculations. That's why the next video in this series is dedicated entirely to domestic preference. Don't miss it. Step 10 brings all bids to a single common currency. Bidders may quote in up to 3 foreign currencies. The committee uses the central bank's selling exchange rate on the bid closing date, or 28 days prior, as defined in the procurement documents. All foreign amounts are converted to Sri Lankan rupees for fair comparison. Any local expenditure is already in rupees. Step 11 concerns after-sales services. These are evaluated only if the procurement documents list them as a criterion. A point system is used, scoring factors like proximity of service centers, staff expertise, spare parts stock, and response times. This turns service promises into a fair, numeric comparison. Step 12 handles unrealistic bids. This check applies only to the substantially responsive, lowest evaluated bid. For works, the committee compares against the engineer's estimate. For goods, against the last purchase or market price. If the bid appears unrealistic, the bidder is asked for a rate analysis and justification. The committee then has 3 options: accept the bid, request higher performance security, or reject it. But there's a lot more to unpack here. So a separate video in this series will explore unrealistic bids in detail. Stay tuned. Step 13 allows the committee to seek clarifications from bidders, strictly for better understanding, not to change the bid's substance. No changes to price are permitted except arithmetic corrections. All communication must be in writing through the procuring entity. The bid evaluation committee cannot contact bidders directly. After applying all 13 adjustment steps, the committee arrives at a final evaluated price for each substantially responsive bid. These bids are then ranked from lowest to highest evaluated cost. The results are documented in comparison tables, as prescribed in the procurement manual, clearly showing the substantially responsive, lowest evaluated bidder. To summarize what we discussed under Stage 3, the detailed bid evaluation, we apply 13 sequential adjustment steps to each substantially responsive bid, from excluding VAT through correcting arithmetic, applying discounts, handling omissions and delivery, to life cycle costing, domestic preference, currency conversion, and clarifications. The result is a ranking of evaluated prices documented in comparison tables, identifying the substantially responsive lowest evaluated bidder. With that, we conclude Stage 3, the detailed evaluation that identifies the substantially responsive, lowest evaluated bidder. Next is Stage 4, the final step, the determination of the successful bid. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hey, if you want to never miss a future upload, hit that red subscribe button, then click the bell icon right next to it. From the pop-up, choose All Notifications. That way, every time we drop a new video, you'll get an instant alert. Let's grow together. Subscribe and turn on the bell now.